Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. This week, we are talking about how to deal with conflict in a way that honors God. Now, you may remember from Tuesday that we looked at the life of David, specifically in his interaction with the king of Israel, Saul. And we talked about how David did not take the opportunity to get revenge. And instead, in that moment, he considered how he might honor God in his interaction. Today, ironically, I'm going to use another story from the life of David. He is not the hero in this story. A woman that we barely know much about named Abigail is. You see, if you read chapter 25 of the book of 1 Samuel, you'll read an interesting story where David, still on the run, goes and asks a favor of a man named Nabal. Nabal was a powerful, wealthy man. He had a lot of resource. And in the past, David and his men had protected some of his employees. And David, now desperately in need, goes and kind of calls him to account like, hey, I've done this for you, but I really need your help. Would you help me out? And Nabal scoffs at him and is like, why would I help you? Nabal did not help David, insults David, and David got offended. David went home, and I'm sure he thought about it and got angry. And in this situation, ironically, he did want revenge. And we find David traveling on the road with a group of guys, and he's on his way to kill Nabal and all of his men to prove the lesson of how dare you disrespect me. Seems fruitful, doesn't it? But something interesting happens. In the meantime, Abigail, Nabal's wife, hears of what her husband had done, hears how he has potentially foot in mouth offended David. And what does she do? Does she stir the pot? Does she go, oh my gosh, Nabal? Does she start to tell other people and gossip? Or does she try to be a helper and bring a solution rather than being a harmer and causing more turmoil, discord? What she chooses to do is she chooses to put herself on the line. And she runs to David and she begs him for forgiveness and says, I'm so sorry over what has happened. How can we make this right? And that humility changes everything. We're going to pick up the story in 1 Samuel chapter 25 in David's response to Abigail in verse 32. David replied to Abigail, praise the Lord, the God of Israel, who has sent you to meet me today. Thank God for your good sense. Bless you for keeping me from the murder that I was carrying out, vengeance with my own hands. For I swear by the Lord, the God of Israel, who has kept me from hurting you, that if you had not hurried out to meet me, not one of Nabal's men would still be alive tomorrow morning. Then David accepted her present and told her, return home in peace. I have heard what you said. We will not kill your husband. When you think of conflict like a fire, I've heard this example before. You can choose to either have water in your hand or an accelerant. You know, like when there's something already going on, you can choose to throw water on it and try to make that fire go out, or you can throw an accelerant on it and get that fire going more. And that imagery is so true when you are made aware of a problem in another relationship. You see, some of us love to stir the pot. Some of us love a little drama. Some of us like to gossip about it. Some of us like to, really, what happened? And I'm going to go get my facts straight. So I better go talk to 3 more people. And oh my goodness. And what we're actually doing in those moments are throwing accelerant on a fire that already is going to lead to nothing good. Instead of being peacemakers, as the Bible challenges us to be, Abigail gives a beautiful example here where she found something out. Instead of stirring the pot, she thought, how can I help bring unity between these two parties? And look at the results. It's amazing. Her gentleness, her humility, if you read the story, her graciousness with David calmed him when it literally said he was getting ready to go on the road and do some things that would have really been damaging. Think about the relationships in your life, the people that come and talk to you and share their woes and worries. Are we leading them closer to God and responding in a God-honoring way? Or are we actually encouraging them to sin and find ourselves sinning in the same? We need to be people that are peacemakers. Yes, we need to get to the bottom of truth, of course, but we need to be careful that we honor God in it and that we don't choose sides. The only side we should choose is God's. What does God want us to do? And how can I help guide you? How can I help guide myself to be in unity with what God is saying? Think about the situations and the people in your life, the spheres of influence that you stand in. How can you use your influence to help people honor God even when they're offended? Hey, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for another Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth.